and hopefully you had a great week and you're looking forward to a beautiful weekend ahead. And today is an interesting one. So in the Gospel of John, there's this beautiful story which we've been looking at all week, and it's a story of a blind man who receives his sight. Beautiful story and a beautiful little teaching moment. And then surprisingly, in the Gospel of John, they actually spend a fair amount of time talking about the Apostle John spends a fair number of time talking about people's reaction to this man regaining his sight. And again, lot for us to sort of chew on there and think about there. And it gets to this question, like, what is the miracle? What is the miracle? What is the miracle? What is the miracle? And how do we answer that question? Not looking at it in terms of our through our cultural lens, through cultural glasses, but actually trying to look at it from a more spiritual perspective of what what the miracle actually is. So I'm going to read it, and then I want to talk about that. So he's been healed. He can see. His neighbors and those who had formerly seen him begging asked, "Isn't this the same man who used to sit and beg? He used to sit at the city gates and beg because he was blind." Others said, "No, he only looks like him." You got to grade that. Like it always begs the question here, like, blindness is contagious. Like there's a certain silliness to saying, like, well, yeah, of course he looks exactly like the guy, but that's not really him because they can't believe in a miracle. But he himself insisted, "I am the man. I am that person." "How then were your eyes opened?" they demanded. He replied, "The man they call Jesus made some mud, put it on my eyes. He told me to go to Siloam and wash. So I went and washed, and then I could see." "Where is this man, Jesus?" they asked him. "I don't know," he said, because he never actually had seen Jesus. He had heard Jesus. So there's a bunch of thoughts there. And I want to start out with just what is the miracle? And it's interesting thinking and asking and trying to like think through that question. What is the miracle? And I think the miracle really is a miracle of sight. I think that's what faith gives us. It's just a way of seeing and being in the world. It's very easy to think of faith as being something, again, that can change all of life's circumstances, and yet faith is really something very different from that. And it gets to Mother Teresa's famous quote that God asks us to be faithful, not successful. It's kind of interesting, and it's nothing. I don't think it's that's disparaging of success at all. I know some of you watching this have been very successful in all kinds of ways, but it's saying that's not the big ask. The big ask is to actually have faith, and success or failure, those are sort of off on the side. And sometimes we have those things, sometimes we don't. But those are not the miracle of faith. The miracle of faith is sight. As I was thinking about it, folks, when I was writing the blog for this week, and was reading a report from the British Lancet medical magazine. It was talking about how depression and anxiety have just skyrocketed. Graph going way up and to the right, like really epidemic proportions. And it's easy to think that somehow faith will eliminate all those challenges, and it might help, but I think it's much more. What faith, at least for what faith gives me, it doesn't give me a way to solve all those problems. It gives me a way to be with all those problems. It gives me a way to be with those problems, and it gives me a way to be with other people as well, and to be with my best self, and to be with my worst self, and to be with God. An idea of being with, being with. It's a challenge because I feel like a lot of the time, like, the miracle that I want an American miracle. I want a rags to riches story. I want a huge everything outsized, and that's easy to kind of think that would be the miracle, but that wouldn't be the miracle. It might be success, which would be fine, right? And it might be a certain level of notoriety or whatever. It might be all those things, or popularity would be a better word there. Might be a level of popularity, all those things, right? But it's not really what faith is driving at. Faith is this beautiful tool that, whether we're really successful or we're not, it's still a tool, and it's still a valuable tool. And one of the frustrating parts, I say this with with a smile, a little bit of a frustrated smile, is not everybody gets what the miracle is. It's like I really do believe like once you talk to someone who has experienced it, once we share about that experience, it's oftentimes very, very hard to communicate to other people. Sometimes people I find as a pastor, sometimes people are really open to it, and sometimes it's like, hey Chuck, that's great, can you pass me the donuts? you know, just like there you go, for whatever reason. And I don't, I think God's got them too. I don't feel like I have something that they don't. I feel like, God in the end wins. God gets us all. I really do believe that's true. And each of us in our own time, and that they probably have things that they see far better than I do. In fact, I know they do. But it is interesting that sometimes there's a part, it's a part of us too, and part of other people that just can't see faith, like just can't quite see the miracle, because they've never seen it. They've never seen it that way. They haven't experienced that way. Most famous of which, the song "Amazing Grace," the famous hymn written by a guy who owned a slave trading ship. And famous line in Amazing Grace: "I was blind and now I see." And he was in a circumstance where he really needed to see. And I think that's so true. About some days, about all I know is that I was blind and now I see. That's kind of all I know. I don't know a whole lot else. And maybe that's enough. And I'm sure some of you are laughing, seeing that yourselves, like, yeah, maybe that's just it. We can just see a little bit differently. And what you can see with faith is indeed beautiful. I share this all the time. It'll be my closing word to you here as you go into your weekends, which is this beautiful definition of faith out of my particular spiritual heritage, which is a Christian New Church one, which is where Emanuel Swedenborg defines faith is the eye of love. And I think that's that new seeing, where we just are seeing things from love. And that's what God desires. That's how he wants us to see the world, interact with other people, serve those less fortunate, all coming from that being able to see with the eye of love. And that's an incredibly important thing. So that's my thought for you folks today is what's the miracle? Miracle of seeing. And I hope you have a little miracle of seeing sometime this weekend. Just pay attention to it. Literally, like, pay attention, see where the miracle of seeing shows up. Know that maybe other people won't see it. They're clearly going to be some doubters, and we'll dive into that a little more next week. And in the meantime, folks, like, really have an incredibly blessed weekend. I just am wishing you all the best. Again, if there's anything we can do, keep in our prayers. A lot of you folks do post prayers throughout the day on our Facebook, on our New Church Live Facebook page. You are more than welcome to do that. We'll be reading them off today. I brought my phone today so that I could see what the comments are and be able to respond. And just, if you're leaving comments later in the day, I will certainly get to them as soon as I can. So with that, folks, let's get a little breath, and then we're going to listen to the bell. And listen to the bell until it stops ringing. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and bring you peace and bring you home. Amen. All right, friends. So let me grab my trusty phone here. And please feel free, as always, to leave a comment on New Church Live's Facebook page. And what I will do will be I will read through those as soon as they queue on up here. And yep, and you can leave a comment even anytime during the weekend is totally fine as well. All right, so let's read through our comments here today. Patty, good morning to you, my Maryland friend. Marcus, good morning. Wishing you all the best, buddy. By the way, great job at the board meeting a couple nights. Marcus talked about some of our website innovations, renovations that are going on to our board of directors, which was great. Gene, good morning to you. And by that sunshine, it must be sunny where you are, as it is here. Sherry writes, a gorgeous sunny day to start the weekend. Have a beautiful one. Yes, and then, for everyone, like that idea of beauty. I got to do some stuff on that. That idea of beauty is really something else. Gwenda, good morning to you up there in Canada. Great joining us from the great north. Jim, thank you for the hello there. Great to see you joining us. Clark, faith is the eye of love. Like there's just, it's such a brilliant way. Like when people, it's just a great response when people say like, oh, I want to have faith. I want to have faith. I think so much of it is just reminding them that faith is the eye of love. It's like when you see the world through the eye of love, that's the kind of faith God wants you to have. Mary writes, Jesus keeps redirecting us. Oh my goodness, Mary, so true. Through faith I was going to make my situation better, but it doesn't. It does, however, get me through it day by day. Keep the faith, Mary. It's so true. Like I thought of faith as like this big like interstate bypass that would get me around all the traffic, and it doesn't. It just helps me to sit in the traffic a little differently. Marianne, great to see you. Sherry says sin can be literally and sometimes can't be literally and sometimes a thought. Let's see. Jeff Smith, love you, Chuck, and love to all the New Church Live community. Thank you very much, Jeff. Same to you. And good morning to everyone. Yeah, Patty, I probably did. Patty writes, I think you missed a couple comments up above. Sometimes, for some reason on my phone, it doesn't show the comments, and then I look back onto the Facebook page, and they're there. So my apologies if I do miss any, and I will certainly get a response back to you as quickly as I can, because I want you folks to know how much you're appreciated. And yeah, I think in this own way, this is our little way of trying to create a little bit better world and see a little differently going into the weekend. So, folks, with that, I just wish you all the very best. God bless. Have a terrific weekend. And yeah, we'll see you back here on Monday. Bye-bye.